Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Istanbul, and I'm back for something different today. So instead of my usual thing going through Eurovision analysis today, I'm actually going to be talking about myself for a little bit, which I don't particularly like. It makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but it's kind of necessary to explain my current circumstances, which are changing, and because it has a direct effect on the channel. So let's kiki. Okay, so I've been thinking about putting this video out for a while. I've been putting it off because I don't particularly like talking about myself, and in particular doing an entire video about myself in my head seems a bit self-indulgent, but as I said in the intro, I kind of need to explain what's going on. So I'll try and keep it as concise as possible. I'm not putting any ads on this video because I feel like monetizing my personal life is a little bit unusual. I'm not Kim Kardashian, so that's not normal for me. But yeah, just to explain like why I'm in Turkey, and also because after Turkey, I'm going to be going to other places. So rather than just appearing in all these strange places saying, hey, acting like it's not this very unusual thing, I need to explain why that's happening. So for those of you who don't know, my profession is actually as a physiotherapist. I specialize in sports physio, and that's actually why I was in China for 4 years. So I went to China in December 2018. My very first video was in my first apartment in the center of Shanghai. That was around March 2019. And then the apartment that you saw me in the majority of my videos in 19, 20, and 21 and 22 was in Chongming, which is an island north of Shanghai. It's like a rural island where I was the only foreigner, and everybody would stare at me every day for 4 years. Even though they saw me every day, they would still stare at me. So I was pretty happy in China, but the lockdown situation there was very unpredictable, and it was going on, and there was no like plan to get out of the lockdowns, and my mental health was just really spiraling. So I left in July 2022. I moved back to my hometown in Dublin, Ireland, and stayed with my parents. I took a couple of months off just because I'd been working non-stop, and then I went 2 months traveling in Central America, and then I got back around December and I started studying for physiotherapy exam for the States. My plan was to move to New York because my two best friends live there, and that's normal for physiotherapy. When you go to a new country, you need to take some sort of registration exam. That's standard practice. I spent 2 months studying for that exam. You may remember me filming my Unser Lied for Liverpool video in an apartment that was in Miami. I was there to take that registration exam, which thankfully I passed. So at that point then the plan was to start looking for jobs in America and move over. In the meantime, during that whole time, I was not earning any money, so I was living off my savings from China. And at that point, I was like starting to panic a tiny bit because I wasn't eligible for any kind of social benefits in Ireland because I hadn't lived there for such a long time. So at that point, around 90% of my videos were monetized by record companies. If you don't know the process, usually when you react to a music video, the record company has software that recognizes that you're playing their song. They'll put copyright on it, put ads on the video, and take all the revenue. So that money all goes to the record company. And then I had maybe like 10% of my videos that were like, had no music in them, just like analysis videos, whatnot. But I did not turn ads on for them. Because I had no income, I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn on the ads because even just having like €1 or €2 coming in will pay for my coffee, because I usually work in coffee shops. So yeah, that's initially why I started doing that. This whole time then I'm looking for jobs in America. Most of the jobs that were applying to me were stuff that I did kind of like 2014, 2015. So it was like this gigantic 8-year career step back. So the whole thing was kind of like getting me down. So in the end, I kind of like started putting a little bit more work into the YouTube videos and whatnot because I was enjoying it. And then also making an effort to try not to do copyright anymore. So just kind of tweaking the audio so that I would be able to monetize the videos for myself. The income from ads on YouTube is not big at all, but obviously it's better than zero, which was my income before that. So yeah, that was something that was like gradually happening. And then I remember at one point I saw a video from a guy called Rainbolt, who is a GeoGuessr content creator on YouTube. So in case you don't know GeoGuessr, it's an online game where you guess where you are in the world based off of Google Maps. It sounds really boring. It's actually incredibly interesting. Anyway, one of the main guys who does that's called Rainbolt. His lifestyle is currently that he moves around city to city every month just doing content creation. And I literally heard that and I was like, oh my God, that is the most amazing existence I've ever heard of in my life. Seeing that video, and then also this like getting rejected from jobs, and also the fact that if I had gone to America, I would have been tied down to a visa for 3 years because I would need to be sponsored. So it's this kind of like feeling of dread of going into a job I didn't particularly like for 3 years and being trapped there. I know it's kind of first world problems, but yeah, everything's relative. So yeah, there was something gradually happened, but this idea just got into my head about, oh, what if I could do something that was content creation? Now, obviously with Eurovision, it's very seasonal. So the season runs from mid-December to mid-May. And then for the rest of the season, you have Junior Eurovision, which I would say maybe has around a fifth of the viewership of adult Eurovision. So there is kind of like a 6-7 month period where nothing's happening. So then I started thinking, oh, well, if I could do physiotherapy content creation at that time, that might be some way that I could do half the year doing Eurovision and half the year doing physiotherapy, maybe like an 80-20 split. Eurovision physio in the Eurovision season and then a 20-80 split in the off season. So my channel was never intended to be something that was monetizable. The first 4 years of it, I didn't do that. The reason I made the channel was because my friends didn't want to talk to me about Eurovision, so I had no one to talk to it about. Creating those videos was just a way for me to talk to people in the comments. That was the reason for starting it, and it still is the main reason that I keep doing it. Is I want to talk about Eurovision and I want to hear other people's opinions about it, and I really enjoy that interaction and learning about people from different cultures. Like, I've literally talked to people from every single Eurovision country other than San Marino. It's such an incredible way to meet so many different and interesting people. So that's also one of the reasons why I don't want to do 100% Eurovision, because I don't want it to turn into a full-time job. I don't want it to become something that I start resenting or that I overdo it and start to think of it in like a tiresome or negative way. So having those other potential channels that I do in the off season means that I won't overcook it. Again, I started trying to make my videos that I was monetizing them instead of the record companies. The logic being that pretty much all my videos had ads on them already, but all that money was going to record companies. So why not just have that revenue going to me instead? On top of that, since I was a kid, my like dream or dream job or like life ambition is to be able to travel for work. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be an explorer, kind of like Vasco da Gama or Ferdinand Magellan or one of those people. But obviously as a child watching cartoons and stuff and whatnot, that sense of exploration was really big in me, and I have traveled a lot. What I used to do was work for 4 years, save up a lot of money, and then go traveling for 3-4 months. Traveling for work was always a little bit of a pipe dream. It's something that I always fantasized about, but didn't think was actually feasible, particularly with physiotherapy, because it's very language dependent. You have to do a lot of questioning and diagnosis and whatnot, problem solving. It's very analytical. Yeah, you are limited by language quite a lot. One of the kind of positives from COVID, one of the positive aspects of COVID is that it really showed that a lot more jobs than we think can be worked remotely. And I saw that in the NHS, which is the British health system, during COVID, they actually were able to continue their physiotherapy services. So yeah, that's when I started thinking, okay, actually maybe physio is something that I could develop. You know, I see personal trainers and health people on social media all the time. So many of them are talking absolute and utter shit. It's crazy, and they've still got crazy followings and they're still getting sponsorships, and some of them don't even have qualifications. So obviously there are plenty of good ones as well, but there are quite a few charlatans. So even seeing that, I was like, wow, there really is a potential niche for someone to come in who's honest and qualified to give opinions in my specialty area, which is sports rehabilitation. Yeah, so all that stuff happened in one go, and I started formulating this idea that maybe I could be able to work remotely and travel. So long story short, since mid-February, I've basically been doing full-time content creation. So that's how I've been able to put so many videos out and kind of increase the quality, as opposed to before where I was working a full-time job as a physiotherapist while doing the videos in my free time. You may have noticed in previous years of my channel, sometimes I would just get fed up with copyright, or I get very busy at work and I just wouldn't post, or my videos would be very, very late, whereas this season they were more on time. And that's because I have been able to dedicate myself to this more full-time. I'm essentially going to do a trial period of being a full-time content creator. Again, hopefully Eurovision, definitely. Physiotherapy, pretty much definite as well, because I don't want to get de-skilled in that. I really do love it as a job, so I want to keep that flame alive and keep it interesting. So I think going into content creation and kind of teaching and education could actually be a really good way for me to keep that flame burning. And then I'm also interested in possibly doing a Chinese speaking channel. I don't want to lose my Chinese, and then also traveling is one of my passions. So I have lots of ideas. Realistically, I'm just going to do whatever sticks. Often with content creation, you put out a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff you think is going to be amazing and you put it out and people just aren't interested. And then some other stuff you put out quite casually and it totally blows up. So there is going to be an element of it of just seeing what works. I'm going to try this possibly until Christmas. My first goal is just to see, can I break even? I'm currently working at a loss right now, which is okay because I worked solidly for 4 years in China, so I did save up money. That money saved gives me the freedom to be able to try and do this. I'm very aware of the privileged position I'm in to even be able to try and do this. I'm not married, I don't have any children, I don't have a house, I don't have a car, so I don't have any of those things that I need to consider as well. So I am in kind of like a relative period of freedom. So it feels like now is a good time for me to try this. Yeah, so until Christmas, I'm gonna see can I work towards breaking even? What's my self-discipline like? Because obviously if I'm my own boss, I need to make sure that I'm actually working and not just staying in bed late, etc. Those 3 months I've already done from mid-February until now, I have been pretty good discipline. I need to be a good boss for myself. I can't let myself off the hook too often or things just go downhill. So yeah, it's like a trial period of 5 to 6 months. Why am I telling you all this? Well, first of all, I'm probably going to be moving around like that guy Rainbolt. You know, he was moving every month. I'm not necessarily going to completely copy him, but my plan is to move around different cities, kind of be able to travel and explore a bit, and also living in places that have cheaper cost of living. So Dublin is one of the most expensive places in the world. Oh my God, it's so expensive. Just breathing you need a mortgage. So coming to Istanbul for me is a more culturally rich and interesting experience, and it's around 40-50% cheaper to be here just existing. So if my income is not doing great, I'll go to a cheaper city. If my income is doing okay, I'll go to a similar cost city. So I'm gonna adapt my plan based on how things are going. So if I suddenly say, hey, it's Tom coming to you from Tajikistan, instead of going, why is he in Tajikistan? You can be like, oh, that makes sense. He warned us about that in this Kim Kardashian video. The second reason is to explain why I've put donation leaks on my channel, because at this point in time, this is my only income right now. To be honest, in terms of support, the main thing that people can do is just watch my videos. Watching videos, liking, leaving comments, giving me suggestions. I gain so many of my ideas for my videos from replying to comments. People ask me stuff or make a point or something, and I'll reply to it, and it gives me an idea, gives me more content to put in my next videos. That is definitely the main way to support me. Just keep watching, and ideas as well, if you have any ideas for videos and whatnot. Yeah, like literally, if people don't watch my channel, that's it. The whole thing's over. It's gone. There's no way this can succeed. So I'm obviously hugely grateful for everyone who wants to hear me talk about Eurovision. I'm massively grateful for everyone's support and love. It's very, very, very touching for me. I don't like talking about myself. I feel like it. So yeah, I'm hoping to keep working on the quality of my videos. You may have noticed I've worked a lot on improving my graphics, and I've got better editing software now. Obviously I need to buy better equipment, because this microphone, which can handle when I freak out when I do reaction videos, I literally bought this microphone €4 when I lived in China. So that's the reason it can handle me shouting. So yeah, I need to invest in a couple of things like that. I want to buy an interview mic, not now, I'll do that next season. So hopefully I can do some interviews in the pre-parties next year. Yeah, but like I said, this is just a trial thing. If I get to Christmas, it's just not looking like it's financially feasible, or maybe I'm not enjoying it or feeling a little bit burnt out. I'm not sure how this is going to go. On paper, it sounds really, really cool, but when you're spending a lot of time on your own, maybe it might not be so cool. At least if I try it for 6-7 months, and it doesn't work, I can say I tried it and I can feel, okay, no regrets. I know what that was like. I gave it a go. It didn't work out. No problems. In any case, you don't need to do anything different. Just please keep watching my videos. And yeah, if you have any ideas for stuff that I can cover in the off season, I've already got around 10 to 15 different potential topics that I'm going to go through. Thanks for listening if you did listen to this, and thank you to everyone for your continued support. And I will keep making videos. So it's really hard for me to end a video without doing my normal routine, so I'm just going to do my normal routine, even though it won't make sense. So what do you think about all this? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you like this analysis video and you want to see some more, I'll leave a couple of them for you here. And thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye.